This is C-Night from the Dove Shack. Getting those shit out. Kicking it at Kings Park with all the homies.
So I remember when I was a kid, I used to always wonder why there's so many cassettes on the floor. Until someone said to me one day, when a tape chewed up in their car, they will throw it through the window, and that's why you see so many tapes on the floor. It would be the funniest thing to see in 2019. I feel like I'm the only one who still has cassettes. I don't think anyone else. I don't know anyone else who has cassettes these days. So I grew up in Melbourne, Victoria, with one brother and two sisters. So we are part East Timorese, Portuguese. Growing up, it was always different because when I was younger, I was usually the only dark-skinned person, really. I went to a primary school in Broadmeadows, which was known as Broadmeadows East Primary School. I would always join, do musical concerts, and I always liked to sing along. I wasn't the academic type. I think music was it was the answer. Music was always the key for everything for me to get through school and things like that. In 1992-93, I had a KK, which is Chris Crindle, and so someone gave me a 3-pack, a blank cassette, and this is it. This is one of them, and I didn't know what to do with a blank cassette. So what I did was I asked my cousin if he can record some songs for me on this cassette. He brought it back to me, and he introduced me to so many artists, and from then on I got hooked. I got introduced to artists like Tupac, from Mariah Carey to Boyz II Men, and that's where it all began, from that Chris Crindle. Me and my sister used to go to the same primary school, and she used to be the one that rings the school bell. So I remember before she was going to ring the school bell, she asked me for the cassette so we can play while the students line up and get ready to go into classes. I gave her this cassette, and when she played my cassette, I felt like the coolest kid at school. As soon as I heard Warren G regulate, I'm like, that's my cassette.
And if your ass is a buster, 213 will regulate.
A cousin who was much older than me, he went to go see a DJ perform, and at that time, if you weren't old enough, you couldn't see them. You had to go see them, and they will throw out free demos or free. So DJ Rectangle came. He was from the US. He came to Australia, and he threw the cassette to my cousin. Then later on, the next day, my cousin came to my house and gave me the cassette, and I got to listen to a DJ Rectangle set like if I was there live. That was probably the changeover. That's when I knew I wanted to start making my own mixes after listening to these DJs. I never started my vinyl collection. I've always wanted turntables, but I could never get them. But it wasn't until I had my first cassette player, and I thought, okay, this is where I can start building my own collection. My collection is a variety from reggae to dub, pop, R&B, but yeah, mostly is hip hop. The ones that I keep have a lot of memories attached to them because they were blanks. This is, before the digital era. So back then it was more personal to put a playlist together than it is now. I mean, these are great. They came in 60 minutes, 90-minute cassettes. At that time, I thought 90 minutes is a lot of music to have when you're a kid compared to now when it's all digital. 90 minutes was a lot. When you take them out, you can decorate them, or you can design it the way you want it to. So I would write my own track listing. I would spell music MUZIK because I thought it was cool. Well, maybe I spelled it phonetically, the way it should be. Exactly. But yeah, it's MUZIK. You could do it however you want. It becomes personalized. There was just something about the way the blanks come in the pack. That's what was special about it. For me, I think it's very cool to have these cassettes. It's a time where I grew up with these cassettes. It was for me. It was. I loved hip hop so much that the cassettes became part of the hip hop culture, and it became part of the culture that I was brought into. So, which is why I have so many cassettes. This was actually one of my favorite cassettes because we had an excursion in high school, and I gave this cassette to the bus driver, and this cassette was the highlight of our excursion trip. I was then the coolest kid in school. I would start recording tapes for all my peers, in school, and this cassette in high school, year 7, it changed. Everyone came to me for music, and I was the source. This changed everything. I used to double tape with these cassettes, and that's how I learned to mix music. I would have 2 tape players, and I would cue each tape and bring one in and then bring the other one out. And from then on, it led me to become to DJ later on.
I like the things you like about me. It's good to know we got something in common, see. So if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right, because you got the thing that I like. I'm out.
When you have an interest in something, when people find out how cool it is, well then this is how you build a friendship. And it's a way of sharing things. Music was always the best thing to share. Yeah, those were good times. Everybody wanted to know who was listening to what at that time, and at that time it was very hard to get. I just now when I look back, I can't believe I have so many, and there was a reason why I have them. They all mean something. If you look at my collection, every cassette tells a story. Every cassette, there was somebody who listened to my cassettes, or I even had to double tape the cassette for somebody. You remember where you were, what you were doing when the song came out. So yeah, they play a part somewhere. But if you have something you're attached to, could be the greatest thing.